I'm trying something new tonight. Gee, what could possibly go wrong? Hi there. Welcome once again to my kitchen, everyone. Thank you very much for everyone who's been kind enough to show up here on this lovely first day of fall. Ugh, 2023. Yes, it's September 21st and it's the Equinox. So, again, Wednesday was last night, and I did have to postpone this YouTube live video until tonight. But hopefully we should have everything running okay, and that's what I'd like to find out. Um, I've adjusted my webcam settings for the record, so I really also need to know if it seems too dark or too bright or too much glare or anything like that. And most importantly as well, I know the last time it seems like the sound cut out. So I do want to be sure everything is doing okay. So I do hope everybody can hear me and see me all right. And thank you everybody once again who's been kind enough to be here this evening. I look kind of red. Okay, yeah, I guess the saturation must be up a little high. Okay, well, that's something I can probably adjust. I'm not sure if I need to do that now. I mean, I don't want to risk messing up the video. So, um, but I think we can live with that for the moment. But however, I will take that into mind and adjust my settings a little bit more once we're done here. Hello, Cast Iron Fanatic. Howdy, folks. Happy Cast Iron Thursday. Yes, indeed. And Cynthia Wesley and Handsome Stone. Silva 579. Hello, Lorenzo Antonio. Nice to see you here, and welcome to my kitchen and my YouTube channel. And as I mentioned, we are we're going to be having some deep frying fun tonight, largely because, one, I have a whole bunch of oil that I need to use, and so we better use it. But also because, well, as I mentioned, today is the first day of fall, and that means we are indeed getting into cauldron season. And this is one of my favorite cast iron cauldrons, as folks should, as some of the folks on this channel should probably know already, I think. This is, in fact, a number 3 size poitje pot from made for in Asia and imported into South Africa and then imported again into the U.S., where I was lucky enough to get it. But yes, and I've got about 3 quarts of oil in this pot, and it's in and it actually, the oil seems to be up to a nice size here to do some deep frying. There's enough room here that hopefully this should cut some of the splatter from the frying. And yet, on the other hand, this should be big enough for us to do a whole chicken because, yeah, that's one of the things I want to do tonight. So the oil has been heating up. I'm currently at 230, 240 degrees. I may actually have to turn this down a bit because I've got to prepare the chicken before we can fry it. So, yeah, because I don't want this oil to get too hot too fast. But nonetheless, yes. Hello, and hello as well to Pat Z and Corey Clark and George Lewis and Rick Stumbow. Thank you, everybody, once again who's been kind enough to show up tonight. All right, that means it's time for us to stop chatting, or time for me to stop running off my mouth, and let's actually start preparing some chicken, shall we? Especially since this is going to be a whole chicken, because why not? Quite frankly, I figured, yeah, I could make fried chicken, and there's nothing wrong with fried chicken. But yeah, fool that I am, I like to try things that are different, which means now I guess I need to raise this a little bit. This chicken here has been brining, I guess you could call it, or at least soaking in buttermilk for like about the past 2 days or so because I was late last night. And so that means we've got a nice, definitely brine chicken here. What's more, I'm going to try to reserve this buttermilk brine as well and use it in my other dish tonight. Because I mean, I know this chicken has been soaking in the buttermilk, yes, but figure as well, I'm going to be cooking it. I'm going to be definitely frying this in hot oil, so there's no chance really of bacteria contamination from the chicken or anything like that. So I'd say why not? Let's reuse this, because the other thing I wanted to do tonight is I had thought of doing a blooming onion, and I even went and got a Vidalia onion for that. But I realized I've been promising you folks spiraled potatoes for the last 2 or 3 weeks or so, and so I figured we might as well get down to actually doing them tonight. So let's start as best as we can. Drain this buttermilk here out of the chicken, and we will just get this all dried off. I tied the chicken down before I put it in the brine. So all we really need to do is to get this thing dried off more or less, and then proceed with the batter. Now the batter is interesting. This is not going to be your typical KFC type of batter. Rather, I found this really interesting video from Thailand. So this is kind of like going to be Asian style fried chicken. In that video, I saw they took a whole chicken and they gave it an interesting batter that gave this a really crispy skin. And Asian fried chicken is actually famous for that. Here in America, of course, we usually use the coating, but Asian fried chicken tends to just be bare with it, but still fried to make to be nice and crunchy. So I'm definitely curious as anybody else to see how this turns out. Okay, so the chicken is right here. Let me put this out of the way, just so that it is out of the way, and we will come back to this in a little bit, because what we have here. Actually, I think I'll just move this out of the way so that I don't have to keep moving this camera around. There we go. Move that. What we have here is a simple mixture of about 50-50 flour and cornstarch, which is, they do a lot in Asian chicken recipes, along with a little bit of baking powder as well. So I've already whisked it all together, and to this, what we're supposed to do is mix in 1 egg. And yeah, as I mentioned tonight, I just love using cornstarch here, because it always tends to get over everything. I mean, what is it with cornstarch? um, so we will start with this. And then from here, we will start simply mixing in cold water. Supposedly, all we need to do is use about maybe half a cup to 3/4 of a cup of cold water to mix this together into a batter. So let's find out, because I have some cold water here. And then from there, I'm just going to, this coat the chicken with this batter. And from there, into the oil it will go. So in that case, I hope, actually, I better turn the heat up, because I guess this is not going to take as long as I thought. Fortunately, I did a fair amount of my prep work in advance. It's only a matter of mixing this batter together here. William, I was throwing out French, Japanese. And while we're doing this, although we can do this as well while the chicken is frying, I guess I should, now would not be a bad time, I guess, to bring up the subject, I suppose, of cast iron potjies from South Africa, because someone apparently pointed out on the live chat that apparently the actual made in South Africa ones are getting a little hard to find. I mean, granted, they don't make cast iron pots in South Africa anymore, unfortunately. There was a rather famous vintage maker of those potjies and that company was called Falkirk, but they completely went out of business, unfortunately, around maybe about 10 to 15 years ago. I believe it was around 2010 or so, regrettably. They were having financial problems, and so they moved from South Africa to Zimbabwe. And apparently, were there for a few years before going completely out of business, unfortunately, because, yeah, the financial situation in Zimbabwe isn't that great either. But as a result, all of those cast iron pans in South Africa, I'm sorry, pots from South Africa are now made in Asia. The one of the most common or popular brands is something called Best Duty, and I was lucky enough to acquire a Best Duty poitje myself about 10, actually 11 years ago. I was shocked recently to realize I've actually had this cauldron for 11 years. So I'm told that it's actually getting a little hard to find the Best Duty brand anymore, even on Amazon apparently, which was where I got it. There we go. I'm told that there is now another company called Bruntmore that is apparently all over Amazon. They've really pushed their stuff all over Amazon, not just their poikies, but their skillets, which are imitations of Lodge, and whole bunch of other things as well. Supposedly, again, this is what I heard in the chat tonight. The reviews of the Bruntmore Poiki pots were not that great. But I'm curious, really, how could a cast iron pot or pan get a bad review? I mean, cast iron is, of course, cast iron, and it's great for cooking. About the only thing I can think of is, well, of the chance that maybe the lid might not be fitting properly, perhaps. Maybe it might be warped or doesn't fit correctly. But otherwise, really, I would have to think that a number of those negative reviews would probably have to be the one that we hear all the time. It's made in Asia, therefore it's bad. And I've done those. I've done enough comments, I think, about made in Asia cast iron that I probably don't have to go over it yet again. I'm afraid. I'll keep the political stuff, to a minimum tonight, especially since much of the dislike of cast iron from Asia has to more to do with politics than about the quality or safety of the iron itself. Although it generally is considered to be cheaply made. Yes, I mean, I will not deny that. Anyway, here is our batter here. The let me check the temperature of the oil once again. See what we're up to right now. 210, 230, 240, 250, 260. Seems to be slowing down a little bit. So we're at about 270 or so. So we still have a little ways to go yet before this oil is ready. The other thing about this recipe is that I'm going to fry the chicken twice. The same way you would do when you make French fries. And that is, again, you fry it twice. Once to remove moisture and dry it out. Yes, I know I look pink. And the second time is really the one that gives it the really crisp and crunchy skin that everyone likes. So I find I had extremely high blood pressure. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Elsie's cat. And congratulations. I'm glad you're doing okay. 87 dollars. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, too close to the camera, probably here. Cynthia Wesley, I cook every day, so tonight it's sausage on a bun. Well, that's good. Hey, what's wrong with sausage? I mean, I love sausage myself. When cooking sausages, I tend to take it higher than 165. I find sausages are fine when they go to around maybe 175 or so, because they're definitely well cooked, and they're definitely not chewy in that case. So there was some super cool lady and super cool ugly hammer Dutch oven on Goodwill for $87. Ouch. Yeah, that's what $87 is. That's a bit high as well. If anybody wants to be kind enough though to check on Amazon for the Bruntmore cast iron poitje, see what they say because I'm really curious as to what kind of negative reviews they might be getting for that. I guess the other comments, of course, is poiki. Yeah, I know. It seems to. I mean, the spelling looks like it's pronounced podjie, Potjie. And at first, I was pronouncing it like that when I first started doing these videos and cooking in that. But I received a number of comments, and no, they weren't bad comments either from folks who were actually in South Africa who saw my videos, and they all pointed out that that's actually how they pronounce it. Poiki. Think of it as poi ki, a poiki pot. And so I go along with that. These poikis, of course, are very popular. I mean, for one good reason, because they do certainly do look like a classic medieval cast iron cauldron, and that, of course, is a lot of its appeal. But I really find as well that the shape is really, really good too. As I mentioned, I'm going to be deep frying in this, and really, I'm hoping that it should cut the shape of this. There's enough room at the top that it should cut down on some of the splatter, the splashing oil and everything like that. Okay, we are currently at 260, 280, 290, and we seem to be at about 290. So I think maybe another few minutes or so. I'm going to try to take this to 325, which again, when you do the double frying, that's how you're supposed to do it. You start by frying at a lower temperature because again, this is really meant more to dehydrate the whatever you're frying more than actually giving it a nice golden skin. Then after that, we turn the oil temperature up, and then we fry it a second time. So that spiral Mark One look neat. I have a number 5 and number 8 ugly hammered collecting dust, but they're cute. Yeah, they are actually. Yeah, that's one reason why I did actually get a set of ugly hammered skillets about a year ago, and then gave them away in a giveaway. Yeah, largely because I wasn't using them either. I stripped in last year. Okay, the poor Bruntmore reviews were about poor casting, warped, and badly fitting lids. Ouch. Then my condolences about that. That genuinely does seem like a real problem. Then, in that case, I guess I have to do it the hard way and look around for really a poiki from some other manufacturer, whether it's Best Duty or if you actually do manage to find a vintage Falkirk, which I guess you could call the Griswold of South Africa. Fortunately, this lid here is not actually completely perfect either, as you can see, but it's good enough. So I've never had a problem with this. Um, as I meant, this is a number 3 size poiki because they use completely different size numbers there in South Africa. My understanding is the smallest size poiki is like maybe 1/2 or maybe even 1/4. And those are the ones that are like maybe about 1 pint or 1 quart in size. But they seem to go up exponentially because there is a number 1, a number 2 size, and this is a number 3, which is 8 liters. Well, I've got 3 quarts of oil in here, and this certainly does not look like. Yeah, I mean, you would think that if this was 8 liters in size, 3 quarts of oil should make should do better. Would not more than halfway fill up this pot. So right now I'm actually getting a little curious, but it is definitely a number 3 size, and supposedly it's 8 quarts in volume. But even so, those things get into to the size where they become really, really huge. Yeah, some of the largest poikis can easily rival those jambalaya pots they have in the American South. All right, let's keep an eye on this. And we are now, I don't want to, there we go. We are now at 311, 312, 313. Okay, we're getting close. Like I said, I'm aiming for 325, which means I think we can safely get the chicken ready for frying. And that's pretty easy. So let me take my ring off. And that's really no more than just doing our best to completely coat this in the batter, which means I'm getting my hands all dirty again. Oh well, I will wash my hands when this is done. But that sure wasn't hard. Here we go, because this is a nice sticky batter, probably because of the cornstarch. And yeah, I can see it's dripping all over the place. What a surprise. Okay, I'll live with that. But from here, okay, how will I do this now? Let's put this. Okay, we will take this out of the batter. And let me see, I suppose I should fry this breast side up. So let me quickly wash my hands here, or at least rinse off my hands. And then I will show you the chicken all covered in the batter, which has gotten all over the place. No surprise there. What did I just do? Just clicked on something. Okay, one last time. Let's head back to our cauldron. And in fact, I should probably raise this so that you can see down into it. So now my hands are wet. Ugh. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. And one last time, let's check this temperature. 231, 275, 290, 304, 310, 313, 318, 319, 321, 22, 23, 24. Yeah, I think we just hit 325. So there we go. That means now I think I'll try doing this with the tongs, and I really hope I don't drop this. That would not be good. But here we go. In we go. Oh yeah. I might, boy, in fact, maybe I might have even used too much oil. Well, no, it's not spilling over. But note to self, the next time I do this chicken, I might be satisfied with 2 quarts of oil rather than 3. However, it looks like it's doing just fine here. I'm hoping some of this bubbling shows up on the mic. Yeah, if it's dropped, I'm going to scream. You're not the only one. Perfect fit. Yes, this is for the record. It is a 5-pound chicken, a frying chicken, not a roasted chicken. So this should certainly not take that long. But yes, the oil is close to the top. Yeah, tell me about it. I'd say we have maybe about 2 inches or so. But it looks like it's enough. And even though I just saw one little spit of oil come out of there, it does not look like it is splattering all over the place. But then again, we'll see what happens when we fry it a second time. Go to 2.5 quarts of oil next time. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. I use hostages 6. It will boil over. I'm not so sure. It seems like it's remaining steady. It doesn't look like it's expanding. I think we're doing okay. Though, of course, if it does look like it's going to spill over, believe me, I'm going to turn off the heat. However, honestly, I think it's looking okay. Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble. Yes, you know, the actual words were double, double toil and trouble. That came out of Shakespeare. You can scoop some out if needed. True, but so far, I have to say, I think I may have just made it. But I like your suggestion, and definitely gonna have to keep this in mind the next time because I'm pretty sure there will be a next time. Because after all, deep frying, of course, is great for cast iron. I mean, not only does the cast iron keep the oil hot, but it really helps to season the pot as well. So oil tends to stay at its same level if it's not covered, so I should be fine now. I agree there. I made a stupid mistake. I should have measured my liquid level before I added the oil. But fortunately, oh yeah. Have you ever made an actual poitje in your poitje pot? I think I did once several years ago. I mean, a poitje itself, of course, is really like a slow cooked stew, and there are a whole bunch of recipes for poitje. If you look around on the internet, of course. And then, of course, we've got to talk about poikikos. And yeah, poiki with a KOS. Poikikos. Poikikos, a lot of times they call poikikos a recipe, but it's really kind of like the whole thing, the whole idea. And what poikikos is basically you, as I said, you prepare your poiki and for slow cooking over a fire or over coals, and then everybody just sits around or stands around the poiki for the afternoon drinking beer. The beer part is important. So yeah, poikikos is basically a party, a slow cooking party where everybody chills out and has fun while the food cooks in the poiki. The next trick will be getting it out. Um, well, I don't know about superior. Don't cover it. The sweat will fall back and start popping. Yeah, I think we're doing okay at this point. Cook by temperature. Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you there. The recipe says I'm supposed to cook it in this oil. And remember, I only did this at 325 for about 10 minutes. And then after that, I will take it out, heat up the oil, and then cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes or so. And then at that point, I will definitely be checking the temperature. Yes, getting it out isn't hard. Just kill the heat and pull it slow. And again, thank you for your comment there. I certainly agree. I always party when I cook. What's the oil temp now? Good question. Remember, of course, got to be careful. I don't want this thing to splash on me. Remember, of course, there's always a big temperature drop when you cook it in, when you put it in. And yeah, right now it looks like it's, well, we're still over 300. So I'd say we're doing pretty good here. And if I look on this side, yeah, it says about 305 or so. Very slowly climbing, in fact. But once again, after about 10 minutes or so, and I take it out the first time, I will then heat the oil up to something like 360 to 370 or so. There's nothing like a beer when you're cooking. And that's where the words of Julia Child come in. As you know, I love cooking with wine, said Julia Child. Sometimes I even use it in the food. I think we can even move this. There we go, center it a little bit. This would be a nice picture. I should take a picture of this. This would be a good cover photo for this, really for this video here. So if you don't mind, there we go. So far, so good. By the way, does the picture seem too dark? Remember, I mentioned I had adjusted the settings there. I know you said it looked pink, but does it seem too dark? All right, where did my mouse go? Here it is. Wipe this off. Got to bit of the batter on the mouse. And make sure I don't ruin the live. Okay, I like deep fried, and I've seen the Boy Scouts here fry them turkeys a couple times. It was not good. They do it at Christmas and Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, I know. I have seen quite a few videos. The lights are fine, but the darks are way too dark. I wonder if I wonder if I could take a chance, bring up my software, and actually try adjusting the settings. That might help. Okay. What I'm using for the record is a free app from Logitech gaming software. And since I brought it up, okay, right now I guess I should ask, I hope this does not freeze the picture. That's the other thing I want to be sure of. That's why I'm not sure if it's a smart thing for me to be doing this now. But let's go to our video settings, advanced, and let's see what happens if we turn up the brightness a little bit. It seems to make everything hazy. I wouldn't mess it during the live, but that's me. Okay, it's still feeding to the cam. Well, that's good. And maybe if I increase my contrast a little bit, the saturation I will turn down since you said I look too pink. Very slowly. There we go. Sharpness is way up, just a little bit grayed out. Yeah, that's my concern. I'm turning the sharpness way up at this point. White balance, whatever that is. I'm not sure if that does anything. All right. Yeah, exactly. Live on the edge. Apply. Let's see how it looks now. Okay. It's a bit dark. All right. Well, then let's make one more attempt. Problem is it seems like when I bring up the brightness, it just tends to gray everything out like that. And that's not what we're looking for. Contrast, on the other hand, I don't want to overdo that either. There's another setting here. It says here called exposure. Ooh, how's that? What did that do? How does that look, folks? There's one particular setting called exposure. There you go. Okay. Although I'm not sure if the color is right. Here's my hand. Maybe you need one of the selfie lights when you have the rings in your eyes. All right. Bright, it says. Okay, let's go back again and turn down the brightness one last time. How's that? Okay, leave it right now. Okay, there we go. Well, thank you for your help, folks. Little red. Okay, well, we can adjust that too. That would be under white balance, I think. Maybe if I turn it more this way. Okay. Looks good, but bright. Now it still says bright. Okay. One more time. I'll turn the brightness down a little bit more. There we go. All right. Well, that's good. And I'm glad. Yeah. But now I am glad I did this. Yeah. Because your input definitely helped. So thank you very much once again, everybody. All right. Gotta do something while it's cooking. Well, yeah, I know. It's not like I could talk about cast iron or anything after all. Don't forget to check the chicken. Good point. I forgot. This is only the first fry, and I'm supposed to do. Oh, okay. Well, thank you again, Shadow Walker XM. This is the first fry, and I'm supposed to do this for about 10 minutes. And then I will take it out and heat up the oil and do the second fry. The second fry is really the one where we're going to have to check the temperature, I think. All right. So all told, things are not doing too badly. The chicken is probably done in that hot tub. I'm not so sure. I mean, this is a whole chicken, and that does take longer to do than chicken pieces. So even so, I suppose I could always, well, I'll wait until it comes out of the oil. I'll check the temperature then. Is this the McDonald's at home tutorial? Yeah, good question. Because yeah, I know that's how McDonald's does it. Well, at least that's how they do their fries. Let me one last thing. Let me rinse off this tray here as quickly as I can, so that we can have so that when the chicken comes out, I'll be able to rest it on the same tray. But I'll only be like maybe another minute or two, I think, before I take it out of the oil. All right. So once again, thank you for your patience, folks. Now all we have to do really is quickly rinse this off. All right. Been lurking while cooking for guests. Here I am for a few minutes longer. Well, that's good. Glad to see you here, Clico. Is there a specific temperature the chicken should be at the first fry? The recipe did not specify it. I mean, I know when you're double frying French fries, for instance, I think they usually talk about 300. I wanted to do 325 because this is meat. So, because again, I'm going to heat the oil up about another maybe almost 50 degrees after this to about 360 to 370 or so. All right, but I'm kind of winging this. So yeah, I mean, that's why, as I said at the beginning, what could possibly go wrong? Shit. Nonetheless, I will take everybody's advice, turn off the heat, number one. And very carefully insert these tongs. Oh my. Yeah, carefully with the oil here because I really don't want to. Wow, it's really going crazy now. Fortunately, my hands are far away from that oil. All right. But once again, this is only the first fry. Put this over here. Holy cow, this thing. I mean, I'm leaning my microphone a little closer. Boy, listen to this thing go. All right. Heat will go back on because it's not spilling over. Yay for that. And probably wouldn't be a bad idea, I think, for me to get a glove before I try checking the temperature of that oil. I'm kind of tired of burning myself. What do you think? So I'm very quickly, here it is. Here's a glove. Ugh. All right, that means put this on one more time. Let's see what we have for temperature right now. 223, 277, 285, 290, 295, 96, 97. Looks like we are at just under 300. And so that means I've got to heat this thing up for at least another 50 degrees or so, which is good. It means we have some time. Okay, so that means one other thing to check, and that is the chicken. All right, I'm still doubtful that this chicken is done, although it does have a nice crisp skin already. However, let's dig out the thermometer and see what it says. Right now, I don't want to hit any bones. Oh yeah, this thing is nowhere near done. Look at this. The temperature is, whoops. Oh, well, okay, even so. I've tried a couple of places. The temperature says about maybe 103 or so. Let me put it in one last time and lock it. Oh yeah, look at this. This thing hasn't even hit 100 yet. So no, this chicken is nowhere near done, which is why the second fry is going to be the fun one. All right. Also start 5 degrees above the target temperature for the oil to counteract the heat loss. Yes, that's why I like doing my chicken frying and the like at maybe 360 to 370 rather than 350 as most of those recipes call for. I just had chicken soup last week. I made Val. I might just try Campbell's for it's over with. Might want to have some salt and baking soda on standby for a grease fire. Well, as a matter of fact, I have a kitchen fire extinguisher. So these things here are made especially for grease fires. Believe you me, this was one of the first things I got when I moved in here. Because yes, I do my best to be careful about safety. And of course, I learned a lot of my cooking from Alton Brown. You know the one where he says no unitaskers in the kitchen except one, the fire extinguisher. In fact, I have 2 fire extinguishers. I have that white one for grease fires, and I have a red fire extinguisher for all the usual fires. And here's hoping I never have to use them. All right. So pull off some oil. Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. Let me dig out a metal bowl because I certainly can't use plastic, and I don't trust glass for this. But you were right. Boy, here I am taking cooking lessons from the internet. Oh yeah, well, I've already said my mantra tonight. What could possibly go wrong? That also means I've got to dig out a scoop. Here's one. Here's a metal scoop. In fact, a Chinese ladle. So this should do nicely. Just got to be careful here. Because, yeah, no, I am not in the mood for spilling hot oil. No, thank you. Let's just take my time here. So far, I've done my best to be careful. Thanks to everybody's advice. And one more, and hopefully that should be enough because this is a big ladle. Oops, there goes some of the oil. Fortunately, not much. Oh, yeah. And then after this, of course, is the question of what to do with all of this cooking oil. Well, if I don't overdo it, I might be able to get at least one more fry out of it. And then after that, well, I do have a method that I used in a video several months ago where we mix some lye and I think water, and we turn it into a very basic soap, which means then I can just simply throw it out in the trash. All right. Baking soda is good for grease fire and also electric fire. If something like this is on fire, the top will stop it. Well, it's possible, yes. You remember, folks may know one of the very first videos I did. In fact, I think it was my very first cast iron video. And it's still like number 3 on my list of popular videos, even though it's been 11 years. Holy cow. But yes, you know, that was the famous one where I set my stove on fire. And that's exactly what happened when that when that cast iron pan burst into flames. That's exactly what I did. I took an iron lid and covered the fire and smothered it, and it worked fine. Um, I hope I've told folks that that was intentional. I intentionally set that fire. That was exactly my plan. And furthermore, when that happened, I was not alone in that kitchen. I had people with me, and we did indeed have a fire extinguisher on the ready in case things got out of control. So, despite, yeah, I mean, I like to think my video production skills have improved a little bit, at least in the past 11 years. But nonetheless, that is, I'm telling the truth there about that video, because of course I'll never forget it. All right, filter it and reuse it. Did you fry the chicken to temp, or do you fry the chicken to temp? You certainly should. Fried chicken, scented soap. Yeah. I've set a pot holder or two on fire. Yeah, that's never fun. As I said, this chicken is a long way from being done yet, but that's when the second fry will come in. All right. And wow, we're 45 minutes in already. I'm not even sure if we'll be able to get around to those spiral potatoes again. So, why do you bake? To crisp the skin? That's one reason for it. In fact, I'm actually thinking, of doing another video soon of fried turkey legs. The imitations are the ones you get at Disneyland and Ren fairs. I first heard about how popular turkey legs are from Ren fairs, and I didn't realize that Disneyland also did it. I've never had a Disneyland turkey leg. But apparently, in all of those, they use smoked turkey legs. I want to do a video where I do this in two parts. First, I take some turkey legs, brine them, of course, coat them with rub, and bake them in the oven to the safe temperature of 165, and then use oil and fry them for about maybe about 10 minutes or so. And I'm hoping that will. I've got so many videos I want to make. So I mean, this nonetheless, I like, I bake it to pull the oil out. Well, there's another good reason too, Corey Clark. I've never heard of that before. Thanks for sharing. All right. By the way, I noticed this thing is no longer boiling, so the oil is now settled, even though it's definitely heating up because I do have I do have the flame on. So I think I could safely just test it with the thermometer here once again and see where we are at this point. It had hit 300 before. So right now we're at 301, 303, 304, 306, 307. It looks like it's 310, 313. So yeah, it looks like we're maybe in the range of just below 320 or so. So we still have a few minutes to go. All right. So many videos and not enough Wednesdays. Well, I'm working on it, one man, one pan man. That's the best I can say. I'm actually shocked that last month I actually made 1,000 videos on this channel. Although a fair number of them now are those short videos I've been doing because I am not happy with the algorithm being used by YouTube. I am definitely getting far more views on these short videos, which of course produce far less revenue than I am with these long form videos here. But, well, all I can do is keep working at it, I guess. Mark Sieber found a funky pan at local Goodwill, clearly marked as a large chef skillet type rather than conventional skillet. Nice. Instead of the regular helper handle, it had a triangular shape. I'm wondering. Oh, wait a second. Triangular shape. I know what that is. Mark Sieber. What you have is one of the large rust resistant pans. About, God, time is flying. About 4 to 5 years ago, on a very limited basis, Lodge actually produced a number of pans, especially to be sold at Macy's. They were sold at Macy's and nowhere else. And these were rust-resistant pans, namely that after those pans were made, Lodge sent them to a third party company in the like Midwestern US or something, and they heat treated those pans so that they were rust resistant. And if you look on if you look on YouTube for Lodge rust resistant pans, you will see videos, including one from Jeff Rogers, the culinary fanatic, where he takes one of those rust resistant pans and puts it through the dishwasher, and it works. It actually comes out without rust. But as I said, those were sold at Macy's, and apparently they were only done on a one-time basis because after Macy's sold out of those pans, they never produced any more. So I don't know if you could call it a collector's item or not, but that's what you have, a large rust-resistant pan. All right, I'm willing to find out. I want one. I would think those rust-resistant pans would be good for camping. You know how pans tend to rust when you take them out in the wilderness. I'm gonna try that the next time I try chicken. Oh yeah, that's right. All right. Um, Beyond that, okay. Let's see how we have here. I have a wooden spoon that is a boat oar. Yeah, well, that's what they use actually for making jambalaya down there in Cajun country, as you know. They originally they made those were they used boat oars as those huge jambalaya paddles. Now, of course, they make those things especially for making jambalaya. But why not? It fits my largest pan. All right. Well, I guess it's time to check the oil once again. See what it looks like. Try not to drop this thing. That would not be good. And we're at 290. We're at 304, 315, 317, 1920. And I've got a spot on my display here. We're only at about 323, 324, 325. So it's still not hot. Ow. But yeah, damn, that's definitely hot, all right. I accidentally touched the metal on this thing. Ugh, seems to happen every time. Oh well. Um, okay. Bamboo is a grass, not a tree. Does my bamboo spatula count? How big is the cauldron that you use that boat oar in? Well, yeah. If I understand right, Val does actually have herself a nice sized cauldron as well, and I can only hope you're getting a good amount of use from it. I'm doing my best to get as much use out of my cauldrons. I mean, that's one reason why I pulled this thing out to deep fry tonight. Because yeah, as I said, it is the equinox, so this is kind of like a celebration, as they say in pagandom. All right. It will fit a whole baby's butt. Put the lid on for a minute or so to heat up faster. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea either. There we go. As I mentioned, this lid does not fit perfect, but it's good enough. I've never really had a problem with that. Um, and yes, I have actually done slow cooking in the oven with this thing with the lid as well. So I'm wondering as well about those Bruntmore poitjes where they say that the lid is not where the lid does not fit properly. I wonder if it's like that, if the lid simply does not lock on tight. Nonetheless, as it okay. As I mentioned before, I got this about 11 years ago when I was going on a camping trip with an interesting occult group known as the OTO. And I'm not going to go into details about that because some folks might be offended. Nonetheless, at that time, that was when I actually wanted to get a nice looking cauldron. And that's when I got this thing on Amazon. Back then, it was, even then, I believe I paid $100 for it. However, I certainly do not regret that investment because I've been using it quite a bit over the last 11 years. However, back then, it was $100. Now my understanding is a poitje of this size is somewhere on Amazon at least, is somewhere in the order of maybe like $170 or so. And my condolences, unfortunately. I can only say I'm glad I grabbed it when prices were reasonably affordable. I can say that as well about my Bayou Classic 4-gallon Dutch oven, because I got that for what I thought was a bargain back then. You know, that big 16-gallon cast iron, 16-gallon, I'm wrong, 16 quart, 4-gallon cast iron pot. In that case, then that was I got it for about $85. And if I remember right, I used an Amazon free shipping deal. So I'm certainly not complaining about that either. And especially since I understand the price of that has doubled in the past 10 years. So, all of you folks who've been lucky enough to get your cast iron when it was affordable, or maybe inherited it or the like, obviously you have my congratulations. Folks who are just getting into cast iron today, unfortunately, I know you have your work cut out for you, I'm sorry to say. Well, here on the internet among friends, and I like to think you are among friends, we are certainly more than willing to help you find a good bargain in some way or another, especially by passing our knowledge along. I mean, a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. I mean, after all, who was it? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, for Mark, for instance, who found that Lodge um, rust resistant pan at Goodwill, for instance. Um, I think one reason why they didn't bother producing any more of those rust resistant pans, you figure once the cast iron is seasoned, well, then it's going to be rust resistant anyway. So a rust resistant pan is, I mean, while I think it would be good for camping, maybe they should have pushed it more along those lines, because I don't believe they did. Camping, and for folks who are beginners to cast iron cooking, because everybody starts out somewhere. Other than that, as I said, there really isn't too much of a use for it. So again, that's probably why they didn't bother selling it after that. Okay, let me put my glove back on, and let's check the temperature once again. All right, give this a good grip so that I don't accidentally spill it. We are now at 330, 338, 340, 341, 42, 43, 44. Okay, 45. I'd say maybe another 5 minutes, and then we will be at frying temperature finally. So thank you for your patience, folks. Damn it, I keep doing that. I'm trying to wipe the grease off of this thermometer, and I end up touching that hot metal probe. Ugh. Oh well, I have my share of battle scars, that's for sure, and mine are tame compared to some of the war wounds people have done in their cast iron battles. And hopefully, I don't get anything more serious than that. All right, moving right along, as they say. Mine has wires. Maybe a different seller. Yeah, I'm okay. Look, I'm not going to bed. I mean, it's time for the reminder. Well, yes, we are. I mean, I do know as well, just like on Wednesday, this is a work night, and I'm not going to keep this everybody going forever. So I think I may have to postpone these spiral potatoes once again, because by the time this chicken is finished, I'd say we will probably be ready to go. Oh well. Yeah, because on top of this, in the freezer, I have a bag of those Snickers bite-sized pieces. I was thinking of doing deep fried Snickers bars, but all of that, I think I will have to postpone until the weekend. All right. Nonetheless, take your time. Thank you very much. I do not know. I live in the city. I don't have to worry about a septic system. Good question. Yeah, I'm glad I do live in the city as well, in that my home has city plumbing as well, and the plumbing has been fine. But that's another thing. Since I'm now in my own home, I am being much, much, much more careful about disposing grease and oil. Because, yeah, if it ever clogs up my drain, well, then that's on me to get that fixed. So I definitely have to be careful about that. And that's why I'm going to make an effort to dispose of this cooking oil in a manner that does not involve pouring it down the drain. All right. Probably different power supply. Oh, I see. You're talking about something else. Okay, no problem there. How does the bamboo tip work in septic systems? Oh, I see. You're talking about unclogging a drain, I guess. Hot oil for deep frying a chicken. Yes, exactly. And I've already accidentally touched a piece of hot metal twice so far, which is pretty much par for the course for me. So the only thing I can say about there is, of course, be careful, folks. And this is one reason why I have not yet tried deep frying a turkey. If I were to do that, I really would want to make it a project and have other people with me. Okay, let's see what we have here. This oil, I would have to say this oil is probably getting to the right temperature by now. I can feel the heat just by, yeah, there we go. 355, 357, 358, 361. Okay, we are ready to go. So let me carefully wipe this off and don't burn myself again. And here we go. All right, that means let's raise this once again. How did I do this before? There we go. Okay, I'm just trying to give you folks the best view possible. All right, and with that, I think it's time to go. Now let's do this carefully. In fact, I think I'll put that glove back on. Gee, what a concept. And the chicken the tongs go back into the chicken. And very carefully, there's still a little bit of oil in the chicken. Away we go. I'm so glad I'm wearing this glove. All right. Let me get closer so you can hear this. Boy, look at this thing go. And thank you very much for your suggestion of scooping out some of the oil. But man, look at this. However, fortunately, I mean, even though this thing is bubbling pretty furiously, it does not look like it is overflowing. It's spitting pretty nicely, though. Right. I've known people who had to get together and fry all their turkeys. They split the price of the oil and take turns. I'm so glad we took out a few scoops of oil. I agree with you completely. So yeah, here I am getting cooking lessons from the internet, and it's actually working. Who'd have thunk it? Because you know the saying, it must be true. I saw it on the internet. But in this case, well, thank you very much for your advice. Because of this, I'm alive. I haven't seriously burned myself. I've unseriously burned myself, but I haven't seriously burned myself. Um, my kitchen has not caught on fire, which is definitely a goal I want to continue with. And we've got ourselves some chicken frying up here. That could have been exciting if you hadn't done that. Yeah, exciting is one word for it. My understanding is standard grade, not heavy duty wires. Okay. The night's young. Yeah, I know. Which really means I just gotta be careful. But seriously, thank you everyone for your advice on this, because this is fun. I mean, that's one reason why people like frying, deep frying. It's fun. I mean, yeah, it gives you some tasty food as well that could give you a heart attack if you ate it every day. But yeah, I mean, oh, I don't know. I guess it goes back to our primal instincts. Ooh, look at it. Look at the bubbles. Right. Oil will likely attract rodents to your compost pile. Well, there is that too. I'm standing close here so that I can hope you can hear some of the bubbling, which fortunately seems to be calming down a little bit. So, but I will definitely be sure to wear that glove again the next time I take the temperature of this chicken. And if you remember, I mean, the chicken had only was just like a little under 100. So we have a ways to go yet, which means I wouldn't be surprised if this may take another 15 minutes or so. Even so, I'm looking forward to the results because, yeah, we've got ourselves a whole deep fried chicken here. Diesel fuel cars would like that oil. Yeah, I've heard about that. I actually did look around, and I don't think there's anywhere around here, unfortunately, that takes spent cooking oil. Regrettably, so that means I would have to go to a disposal place where usually I'd have to pay a fee for that, or, well, as I said, use my own methods. I'm wondering though if the fee of disposing this oil might be less than the cost of putting a couple of pounds of lye into it. Do you have a round splash shield to cut down on oil splatter? As a matter of fact, I do. But even though I do have to clean up the splatter, I think I would rather leave it uncovered, especially for you folks. That way you can see it. But yes, you're right. I do have a splatter screen. And yes, I have used it, usually when making pasta sauce. But nonetheless, hello. I'm very late. Hello, Louis J. Cast Iron Cooking. Well, we've got ourselves a 5-pound whole chicken. And it is deep frying in a number 3 size South African poitje. So yeah, I mean, I rather than just do your typical fried chicken as usual, I wanted to try to do something different. Fool that I am. As a result, we've got a whole chicken deep frying. This whole thing is going to be done in one piece. Is that the old 12-valve mechanical injection? Yeah, this definitely, taking those scoops out, you can see that this chicken is no longer covered by that oil, in fact. No, I'm not going to pour some of the oil back in. I think we can live with this. In fact, all I would really need to do is take the tongs and maybe adjust the chicken a little bit. Oh yeah, in fact, it's floating. So there we go. So there shouldn't be any difficulty with that. And fortunately, even though it is still bubbling nicely, seems to have settled down to the point where it is not spitting. So I think we are doing good here. I will still wear my glove though when the next time I check this chicken's temperature, which I think I will do. All right. Here we go. So, see what we have right now. Poke it in. That can't be right. Oh yeah, no, it was because of the oil. This thing is dropping now. It looks like it says 151, which is not bad. Yeah, first it's checked. First it shoots up because of the oil. Here though, on this side it says 133, 132, 131. So we're roughly maybe about 130 or so, but that's not bad considering this thing was less than 100 when it first came out of the oil. So it sounds like it should be done in what, maybe another 5 minutes or so. If we're voting, I would say keep the dark meat down in the oil. That's what we have. Right now, this is actually breast side up, and the dark meat is on the underside. Gonna be interesting watching it completely cook the dark meat without overcooking the white meat. Well, that may be what Celine77 is talking about. Because, yes, the dark meat is down there on the bottom, so which is actually closer to the heat. So, I would hope that means that it's actually hotter down, it's hotter down here than up here. Though I'm not sure if oil is like that. Have had deep fried turkey. It was moist and very good. I'm heading to Aldi tomorrow. They have a cast iron bread oven this week. Oh, yeah, a reminder as well. Lodge has produced a larger size loaf pan. This, the rectangular loaf pan. This one is like about 10 inches long, which is a nice size, actually. Haven't seen any shorts or nothing. Thought Louis. Oh, I see. You're talking about Louis. Yeah, I've been a little busy these past couple of days, so my shorts have been just that, short. I do want to dedicate myself to that. Although I've already whined about how the short videos get a lot more views than the long form videos because I put a lot of effort into those and I would really like them to get more exposure. Nonetheless, all right, I like the little ones that Louis has, mini loaves. Oh, I'm have to go into town tomorrow. Oh, I see. Is a 3-notch always a lodge, Gunter 45? No. About 98 or 99% of them are Lodge. Lodge is the only American manufacturer who did the 3-notch thing. However, there is a well-known series of Korean cast iron pans that imitated that. And they produced 3-notch and also 4-notch pans with notches at the 6 o'clock as well as the 3, 9, and 12. I think those date to around the 1970s or so. But actually, those Korean 3-notch and 4-notch pans have a pretty good reputation. They are good cookers. People have used those and they work great, as just about any cast iron pan would anyway. So, but for American manufacturers, yes, only Lodge did the 3-notch. Cast iron is being snapped up by people grabbing multiples. That I think I'll comment as well. I'm wondering if people are starting to get into cast iron for the collector value, speculators. And is there a bubble? Thinking it over, I don't think this is the same as the .com bubble or the comic book bubble of the 1990s or the real estate bubble or maybe even the superhero movie bubble we're in right now. Superhero movies, the bubble is going to burst and then they're not going to be incredible box office hits for a while. But cast iron, I don't think so. 2 reasons. One, of course, it lasts forever. 2, even modern day cast iron works great. And 3, you have a real use for it. It's a great cooker. It's not just something like Bitcoin. So if there's any kind of a bubble, maybe it might be with the expensive modern day cast iron, perhaps. But that's hard to say because of course, there's Le Creuset. Le Creuset has been making cast iron for decades, and they're still doing good business. But is there a bubble of the kind that might actually cause trouble for Lodge if and when it bursts? I'm still not so sure. All right, got my glove on and check it again. Wow, is this right? 183, 184. I might have hit a bone. Over here, 190, 183, 180. I think we're done, folks. This thing shot up faster than I expected. Although on this side it says 150, 149. Oh, I guess I must have hit a hot spot or something. This one says 148 over here. But We are not doing too badly. Let me try one last time over here. And this is in the dark meat. Yeah, 156, 153, 152, 151, 150, 149. I know you can actually take chicken out when it reaches 150, but even here it says 147. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes. Wow, look at this thing float. However, fortunately, I do not believe we're going to have an overcooked chicken. I'd say things are doing pretty good. It looks like I could even turn this thing over, in fact. Because, yeah, we've got some dark spots on the bottom, probably from where it was touching the iron. All right. The little beanies. They're so cool. Pull that crusty bird. Done. Okay. I think I will take your advice because your advice has done good so far. That means first we turn off the heat. Second, we've got to drain the oil out of this thing. Since I've turned it around, I've got to find a place where I had put the tongs. I believe it's over here. Oops, careful. Yeah, here's the part where the night is still young. I really do not want to seriously injure myself over a chicken. There it is. There we go. In we go. Carefully. Nope, that's not it either. You try one more time. There it is. All right, I think the tongs are in. That means we drain it. There we go, folks. All right, I think we're good, which means now we get to plate it. Move it over here. Finally, let me, while this is still bubbling, and yes, I do have the heat turned off. Let me dig out another platter or plate for that. There we go. So that way it should look nice. Boy, whoa, I heard something really explode there in that pot. Maybe an air pocket or something. All right, put this onto a plate. There we go. And okay, once I can move this over. I wonder if it will be dry. Probably the white meat will be. I'm not so sure. That's another reason why people love frying chicken. That actually tends to preserve the white meat, except at KFC. But there we go. This took longer than I expected, as I said. I mean, here we are. We're already at like the hour and 20-minute mark. So I guess the rest of the frying is going to have to be continued. But nonetheless, oh yeah. I think I can move this down a little bit more. And with that, here we are. Our deep fried whole chicken. And yeah, this thing is definitely crispy too. No question about that, especially in a couple of minutes when it finally cools off. Let me grab one or two more photos. So this is my camera here. Okay, there we go. And that is for posterity. But there it is. A whole deep fried chicken. And finally, of course, the important question once again is the temperature. Now that it's out. This one here says 167, 17. It says about 171. Uh, I'm poking the breast and it now it's gone up to 172. Um, I'm still not so sure that it's going to be dried out because, again, as I said, the oil and the coating. Well, I guess all we can do is once it cools down, we will try it and see. Corey, you're a mess. So is my kitchen. Deep frying, there's no denying it. It makes a mess, which is why generally people don't do this every day. That plus the fact that you don't want to eat fried foods every day. But nonetheless, there we are. All right. Hello, Mark. Hi. Welcome to my kitchen. Yes. What we have here is a deep fried whole chicken. The whole thing. I covered the whole thing in a very simple batter and deep fried it. And this is the result. Okay. Well, yes, thank you, Cast and Fanatic. Well, it was just something I wanted to do, really, just for fun. I mean, what's the point in deep frying a whole chicken as opposed to chicken pieces? Because, of course, we've got all of these bones and the backbone and everything like that. Well, the point is, it's fun, and I'm not even going to try to make an excuse for it. I did it because I wanted to do it, and here's the result. And I'm certainly not complaining, I think. Especially thanks to all of you for your advice on this, like taking out some of the oil, keeping a close eye on it. All right, if I just arrived, I'd be pleasantly surprised. Yes, exactly. That's what I like. I don't have the nerve to do that. This really wasn't that hard for the simple reason that I did my best to be careful and take my time. I did kind of very minor burn one or two of my fingertips because I accidentally touched that hot metal probe from the thermometer. However, I did not burn myself on the oil. I did not get any oil splatter on myself. So, for that, I think we can call this a victory, especially since I guess we can end this not immediately, but get a one last view here of our number 3 size poitje, a once again a cast iron cauldron made in Asia, imported into South Africa, and then imported again into the United States. Poitjes are very popular for that reason. I mean, they are extremely useful. The shape of this pot is great. Um, and that's one reason why I took it out for deep frying, because there was a lot more room in this to deep fry the deep fry the chicken. And yes, there was, in fact, some grease splatter, which is to be expected pretty much anytime you deep fry, but it's not a terrible, terrible mess. It will, of course, require some cleaning up, and that I will do. But I love the shape of this thing, and not just because it looks like a medieval cauldron. I'm glad I got it 11 years ago. And yeah, if you are lucky enough to manage to score one of these things, use it with pride and get a lot of use out of it. There are a lot of things you can use this thing for. It's a great cooking pot. It's a Dutch oven. As we saw tonight, it's a deep fryer. I mean, it's a cauldron. I mean, it'll make a great Halloween decoration too. So there we go. Yeah, no burns tonight. Well, a couple of very minor burns, but still, you could stick 2 or 3 chickens in my turkey fryer. Oh, that sounds good too. Okay, but nonetheless, yeah, exactly. I like trying new things. It's like I had the urge to do it, and I just wanted to do it. Tear that bird apart. Well, I suppose we should give it a try. Try carving at least part of this, and then after that, we will probably have to call it an evening. So bring this down here. Ooh, cut it. We want to see. All right, that means Time to take out the knife. Oh yeah, I found this recently. I found this carbon steel knife. I guess this is a carving knife. I found it only within the last month or so, and I'm quite happy with this. It's got a nice edge to it too. Forge craft. Folks may remember forge craft, for instance. Okay, nonetheless, let's get out. Where is my fork here? And where is it actually? Oh well, let's not waste any more time. I mean, it's late enough as it is. Let's move this over again. Move this chicken over because I know you want to see this, and so do I. So this thing is crackling, and with that, oh yeah, check this out, folks. I would say we have nothing to worry about as far as dried chicken is concerned. Hot, but it's not too hot. But there we are, which means I'm just going to have to try this. Oh man, this is not dried out. This thing has so much juice in it. I would call this a winner here. I'm so glad I took everybody's advice. And of course, we checked the temperature. That was the important thing. But I would say we've got ourselves a winner here, folks. This is not something. Yeah, I think this is something you, of course, you're gonna have to do on a special occasion because it makes a big mess in the kitchen. It's potentially dangerous, but then again, frying any chicken is potentially dangerous. So you just have to be careful and take your time. But here's the result. We've got ourselves a whole deep fried chicken. Hmm. So yeah, definitely, I would call this winner chicken dinner. All right. I would make mashed potatoes and gravy and other green beans or English peas and biscuits for bread loaded with butter and of course mac and cheese too. How crispy is the crispy part? Try that. Well, let's break some of it off. There we go. Hmm. Oh yeah. We are good here. This is not shopping with grease. So I like how this turned out here. Especially since this only used very basic seasonings as well. And of course, if need be, we could always add our own if necessary. But this is done pretty good, I think. All right, soup time after the meat is gone. Yes, exactly. Mine says Old Hickory on it. That's a nice brand, by the way. I'd try it with Cornish hens. Yeah, exactly. Cornish hens are probably safer for that reason. But I wanted to do a 5 pound frying bird as well. Um, Okay, with a Cornish hen, you could probably even fry it in, well, a cast iron chicken fryer. So, yeah, that's not so bad. And here's our result. So, and again, thanks everybody as well for waiting for Thursday because, as I said, Wednesday did have to be postponed. But fortunately, I'd have to say the wait was worth it because it also gave the chicken an extra day to brine. So, yeah, that probably helped keep the chicken from drying out too. This thing was in a buttermilk brine for 2 days. So that certainly helps. And yeah, I am really like doing a buttermilk brine with my poultry. And I make sure to use that on my Thanksgiving turkey as well. Because if it's good enough for fried chicken, it's certainly good enough for a turkey. But here we are. Fried chicken, anyone? As a matter of fact, one of my neighbors suggested she might actually drop over for some, and she is more than welcome to it. Oh, all right. Is that an apple core in the background? Yes. I had wanted to finally do those spiral potatoes tonight, but unfortunately, this took too much time, regrettably, which means the potatoes are still going to have to happen at some point. Nonetheless, Yes, K Clock. Nice of you to come to my kitchen as well, and that's really the best I can say. I can only thank everybody who's been kind enough to show up here tonight because, well, as I've said every time, and I mean it every time as well. These live videos are a lot of fun, and you folks are the reason why they're so much fun. I can only thank everybody for being here and for doing your comments and your advice and everything. And thank you as well to Cast Iron Fanatic and Pawpaw Dan, Cynthia Wesley, K Clock, Alma Wasilewski, and Rick Stumbow, and everybody else. I'm giving 3 chickens to my neighbor to eat. Oh, nice. And William Hurt as well. Thank you for being here tonight, and everybody else. And hello, JIR Finishes as well. Thank you for everybody for being here. And well, I guess all we can do is call this a night because I've got a mess to clean up, and we will continue all this. I will be putting out more videos, and then of course there is next week. Unless an emergency happens, and I hope it doesn't, then we will just have to do all this again next week, which means I will end this the way I like ending this, with a quote from my favorite movie, 2001. See you next Wednesday, everyone. Have a good evening. Come on. There we go. And now that it's done, Mowgli comes in and starts getting attention. I think she knows when it's quiet that we're done.